Hello and welcome to our program Where God Weeps, a program where we talk about the situation of the suffering and persecuted church around the world. Last week we were speaking with Father Samir Khalil Samir, a professor at the Beirut University in Islamic studies and an expert in interreligious dialogue. We spoke about the situation of Christians in the Middle East, the fact that many are leaving and few have any intention of returning. Today we're going to be considering again this topic, but going further. What does radical Islam mean for the Middle East and for Europe and the United States? Welcome back, Father, to our program.
Thank you, Mark, for this invitation, and thank you for everyone who is following us.
Can you tell us why is this radicalization occurring now and where is this going to lead us?
The radicalization started a little bit at the end of the 20s of last century with the Muslim Brotherhood. The reason is the end of the First World War, and the fall of the Caliphate. In 23-24, we had the end of the Ottoman Empire, the last Muslim empire in the history, after more than 13 years of Islam. We had also the secularization of Turkey. The Muslims didn't know what to do. They asked themselves, who could be the new caliph? Saudi Arabia, Egypt, but they didn't find anyone able to take the place of this Ottoman Empire. So they said, someone started this project, and he said, we have to Islamize the Muslim countries. They are too westernized, and it was true that their juridical system was taken from France, Swiss, and so on. And they started with the Muslim Brotherhood, but it wasn't so strong. It was just to change the society towards something more Muslim. They refused absolutely violence, but with the time, it became a struggle between the king and the Muslim Brotherhood. Later on, after the 52 revolution of Egypt with Nasser, it was between the socialist revolution in the 50s and the Muslim Brotherhood, and they were persecuted, they were put in prison, they were killed. And then they started to organize the resistance and the opposition. And they became every year more violent. So this started, but it was only a political inner project. When in 1948, the creation of the State of Israel was decided, and the Arab countries altogether were totally defeated by this small group called Israel.
They were humiliated.
They were humiliated, and they said, this is because we have states who are not really Muslims. We have now to make the revolution. And Nasser was also this opinion, but not. He decided to do it as a socialist. The others wanted to do it with a project, an Islamic project. And so we had two projects as a reaction to the West through Israel. And the wars came between Israel and the Arab world, and every time it was a defeat. Only in 1973, with Sadat, he succeeded to recuperate a part of the Sinai, and then decided we have to stop this process and to make peace. And he decided to go to Jerusalem, and he make his famous speech, which as a consequence provoked his killing,
his assassination.
Assassination. But it was a new possibility. So we had at that time two states, Jordan and Egypt, who make peace with Israel, and they are still the two only states who have not lost any part of their country. The others decided to react with war and so on, and they are every year more occupied and reduced. All that created such an humiliation in the Arab world for Muslims as such, because they have seen this not as a simple political confrontation,
but part of the Ummah.
Part of the Ummah. Palestine belongs to the Ummah, to the so-called Dar al-Islam, the house of Islam. We have to protect the house of Islam. From the other side, it was also a religious conviction, because it was seen even by not believers, Jews, as a gift from God. So we had a religious confrontation from two ideologies, even if for some people this religious aspect was a pretext for a political.
So in fact, if I understand correctly, we have these multiple forces, multiple trends going on within Islam, between very radical, between efforts in other less violent ways, and the Christians are caught in the middle.
In the middle. And then came, in 73, 74, the big boom of the petrol. The price of the petrol became 4 times. That means a lot of petrodollars
suddenly
was
available.
What could Saudi Arabia do with this money? The only thing they know was to build mosques or Muslim centers, Islamic centers. They built in Egypt around 1,000 of schools, Islamic schools and mosques. And they do the same everywhere until today.
But there's an agenda. It is not only the petrodollars that is fueling this, but it is this expansion of Wahhabism.
Yes.
What is the purpose? Is it...
Yes, we have to understand Wahhabism. The name Wahhab comes from a certain Abd al-Wahhab who lived in 1780s, in the 80s, and make an agreement with a small prince, Saud. The prince, he supported the prince, and the prince adopted the religious ideology of Abd al-Wahhab. This religious ideology was just between brackets. We have 4 Sunni schools, juridical schools in Islam. The most rigorous one is the Hanbali. Hanbali was used in Saudi Arabia, in Arabia. But Abd al-Wahhab found that this was too not strong enough. Wahhabism is the strongest, is the closest one. So it's really the maximum of severe Islam. And this became, when they found Saudi Arabia in the 20th century, in the beginning of the 20th century, they created this kind of Islam very strong, where everyone has to practice exactly Islam and so on.
In fact, there is no constitution in Saudi Arabia
Exactly.
because the Quran serves as the constitution.
Yeah, and they exported with the money this ideology. And so it enters in Egypt, and from Egypt also later in the 90s in Algeria, and they exported it in Indonesia.
So if we speak very simplistically, we can say that the oil money that is being bought by the Americans, by Europe and so on, is fueling the expansion of this radical Islam worldwide.
Absolutely. And in Europe and in America too. Today, it goes on. So we had money, as much as you want, a vision, an ideology, and they started. They started Islamizing every external aspect of Egypt and the other countries. From Egypt, through this well-organized group of the Muslim Brotherhood, they expanded Wahhabism with the support of Saudi Arabia. And this meant a radicalization of Islam. But then, when the struggle between Palestine and Israel became harder, and they saw that there was no solution with Israel, the only way they had to contrast the power of Israel was the kamikaze, was giving
the suicide bomber.
Yeah. And it was seen as something with honor. We are not killing people with bombs anonymously. We are giving our life to save the country, to save our people. And they were seen as heroes. And effectively, this is also true.
The interlinking of politics and religion.
Yeah.
The Middle East Synod, now we are in Rome, the papers, the documents of the Middle East Synod have been speaking about different ways to address this problem. One of the proposals, for example, was positive secularization. That is the idea that that religion should be separated from the state, and that this should be introduced as an idea through the Christian community.
Yeah, we Christians, we know we are weak politically, and our number is small. We cannot pretend to make the system to, but we know also that because of that, we can make proposals, reasonable proposals, and they could be accepted slowly. It takes time. To speak of secularism, laicity, this in Western languages, it's okay. In Arabic, it's impossible, because the word laicity, we have a word, ilmaniya, or more correctly, almaniya, with an A, not an I. Almaniya is secularism. But for Muslim people who has not experienced the secularism, Almaniya means atheism. Because they cannot imagine a state without religion. Secularism means religion is something apart, so you are atheist. So I never use this word in Arabic. I say a civil state. Civil state does not mean that religion has no part. I think we must say for Muslims, as for Oriental Christians, religion is a very important part of a public life. And this we want to keep. The example of Lebanon shows you have you have more religion than anywhere else, but all religions. Here is the project to say, we believe in God, but we have different approaches to God. The Muslim approach, which is the majority in this country or the totality, a Christian approach, even a Jewish approach, or others' approaches. This is the project to say we will not touch to the religion. It's too deep in us. But we want citizenship. We are all citizens, equal.
The question is, are we too late? The Christians now, of what we've been speaking about, the Christians are leaving the Middle East. We've been questioning, is it reversible? Is it not reversible? We've been holding up the example of Lebanon as a possible solution.
Yeah.
Are we too late? If Christians are going to leave the Middle East, how can we propose a solution to the problem?
That's why we say we have hope, and this is very important. We know that there is no other way. We would like, before it's being too late, we would like today to say stop, and we have a project. We come as Christians with a project, not a Christian project, a project for everyone, but we are coming with proposing this project. So please, all those who are ready to apply this project, don't leave. Christians or Muslims, don't leave. We want all together to build a society based on human rights as much as possible.
Because today is the Middle East, tomorrow is Europe, tomorrow is the United States.
Right. Because if we don't do it today, and if you, Western Europe, United States and others, if you don't help us to realize this project, today we are going elsewhere, tomorrow you will be attacked as colonialist, imperialist. We use all these words. It's very easy to say you are the bad one. You put us in this situation, and now it will be the revenge. We cannot fight an ideology with bombs. It provokes more people. The more we are killing terrorists, the more new people, thousands of people are coming to be terrorists because they don't see it as terrorists.
It is an honor.
It's an honor. It's the only honor they have. They are dishonorated in their countries. They are nothing. They say, I am a martyr. We use the word martyr, shaheed, plural, shuhada, every day. When someone dies, even if it's in between two cars, they say a martyr. Because we need some honor to say...
To give meaning to our lives.
Yes. And now we are saying, no, the meaning of our life is to make peace, is to build, to make justice for the poor, to make justice for women, to make justice for the black or for the Christians or for any group or any persons, to have a system, an educational system, which really not only the rich who can go in a private school, but the common school is a good system. We have maybe in Egypt, it could be the worst system in the world, one of the worst systems. People after 6 years, obligatory 6 years, it's even now 9 years, they come out analphabet.
They cannot read.
They cannot read and write. After 6 years in the school, I was in charge from the government, the Socialistic Party. I was in charge of more or less 20 centers of alphabetization. And I ran them in the 70s at that time when I was in Egypt. And I discovered that half of our young people or boys coming in the evening from 7 to 9 in the evening were going in the morning to schools. I went to these schools. They send me, the government sent me through the party, they sent me to a model school. I went to this model school and I discovered that very few, 10 or 20% of the pupils could learn. The others could not. It was too late.
So the answer is?
The answer is to build together. The key word is together, because we know we don't have the power of changing the whole society. But if through my project, through my example, through our realizations, because we have to say something which is maybe not known, that the Christians, and especially, more especially, the Catholic Church, has everywhere schools, hospitals, and I read that in Mali, 20% of the
schools, the social
services are run by Christians, and they are not 0.5%. And this is a reality. Through our organizations, through the sisters, the nuns,
I want you to give me an answer, in a brief answer. What is the answer? You started together.
Together. To do. A conscientization to say the solution is peaceful. It cannot be a violent solution. It starts with political projects. First of all, no war. No war between Palestine and Israel. So we support projects saying we make 2 states. We would like to have 1 state, but it's impossible today. There are 6 years of fighting. So 2 states with borders, known borders, with control of this, okay. Until we need at least 1 generation but not with a wall, with people crossing these borders legally, juridically, and so on. The same in Iraq, to convince we need peace between Sunnah and Shia. I am preaching that to Muslims and saying we have no interest in having the Muslims fighting. It's not that, oh, it's good, they are becoming weaker. No, this is bad for us. So peace. Second, we can now build. What is our project? Social justice. And together, because you believed in social justice and we believe in social for the poor, for the weak, and so on. This is in the Quran as in the Bible, for Jews as for Christians as for Muslims. We propose a common project, and we start, and we do. Our proposal is not an Islamic one, because it could be manipulated by other people, but the Constitution is religious, recognize God in different manners, but the Constitution is based on human rights, and in a way, Lebanon could be a kind of model, not a perfect model, but some ideas could come from there, and we will develop
step by step.
Step by step. It will take some generations.
But it's achievable.
But I think it's achievable. And then we invite the rich countries, help us to do the same. We help you to build in your country the same. We know that the king of Arabia wants to change this, would like to change the system. He started a university mixed. Can you imagine? The king of Saudi Arabia. Yeah, he is criticized by the mullah, by the shuyukh.
But he's taking these
He's
steps.
taking. He decided to send every year 10,000 of the best students to the West.
We propose to adjust the constitutions
Yeah,
because we are Christians and we have hope.
yeah,
But the second reality is it's pragmatic, because if we don't solve the problem in the Middle East, we are going to confront this problem tomorrow in Europe and the United States.
right, certainly.
Father, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
It's been a brilliant conversation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us today on our program. And if you'd like to know more information about the situation facing Christians in the Middle East, I would encourage you to look at the contact information at the end of this program. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.